Safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban. A multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veteran services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who is interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees, our 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
It is a little after 8:30. Welcome to the meeting of the Legislative and Human Resources Committee of the Kent County Board of Commissioners. We will go ahead and get started with our first item, which is public comment. If anybody wishes to address the committee, you may do so. Please identify yourself by name and your address, and you have 3 minutes. And if not, we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of the minutes.
I'll move it.
Motion to approve, been supported. Discussion, not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Third item of business is a report from Fiscal Services, Steve Duarte, on performance measurement review. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here to talk about our department. Before I start on our performance measures, I'd like to introduce a couple key members of my staff who are here to also assist if there are questions I can't answer. Stephanie Lee, who is Kent County's risk manager, and Cal Brinks, who is in charge of purchasing as purchasing manager in fleet services. I want to start by giving the board an overview of what I'm going to attempt to provide you with today. Alignment with board priorities, key performance metrics, significant budget issues, significant accomplishments for fiscal services, key collaborations, and a look ahead as to what I see us working on in the future. The fiscal services mission is to provide an efficient, cost-effective financial management system that facilitates sound financial planning and reporting while safeguarding the county's assets from loss, and to provide support services to other county departments. Talking about alignment of fiscal services with the board's priorities, starting with stable revenues. We work closely with departments to acquire grants, contributions, and other sources of revenue. We make certain that the state of Michigan requirements are met for the county to continue to receive full revenue sharing. And we monitor revenue receipts to ensure that they are received timely and to the level we expect. Fiscal Services continues to leverage all resources to provide support services to county departments, other local agencies. Efficiencies are usually come through pushing the technology envelope as far as we can, leading to what we hope is more efficient use of resources and collaborative results. Under the efficient use of resources, we develop realistic revenue forecasts to assist county leadership in its decision-making. We assist in developing a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of Kent County while aligning costs with our available resources. Working with other agencies and departments to leverage purchasing volume to try and get the best possible cost, utilizing the reverse auction to attain best prices available and hopefully the best quality also. We manage cash flow to ensure receivables are collected timely and continue to maintain general fund balance that is compliant with board policy. We also, in addition to collecting receivables, try to stretch payables to the maximum. That means paying at the last possible date and still taking advantages of any discounts and making sure they're paid on time. But we stretch them out as far as we can so we can keep that money invested. Involving and promoting citizen participation is important to fiscal services. By utilizing technology, fiscal services works to keep citizens informed of the county's financial condition while transparently providing information that is frequently requested of fiscal services. Under citizen participation, I will note before we go on that all these are links to where this information is available on Access Kent. We provide financial transparency and county incentive program information to all interested parties online. We post bid opportunities, solicitation status, updates, and surplus goods online on sale online. We provide vendor resource information online, and we provide information online that is frequently requested from our department via FOIA request to increase transparency for citizens. Several years ago, Cal Brinks and I talked about one of the areas where we get a lot of FOIA requests is in purchasing. And so we set out to say, why do we want to make citizens come downtown, park, take a chance of getting a ticket, come upstairs, spend time, send us a letter for when a lot of stuff they're asking was just public information. We had no desire not to share it, so we set up a system online so that a citizen or a vendor doing business with us can do a couple clicks and get all the information they want without ever filing a FOIA request. Trying to be very, very transparent and making it cost-effective for the citizens to get access to that data. The fiscal services constantly strives to be a proactive, innovative department, which requires our department to use technology as much as possible so that we can maintain services at a higher level, even if we have less resources available to do it. Under proactive, innovative government, we administer the reverse auction and bid process with purchases made and expand on collaboration with local governmental units. I don't know if any of you are aware of how that reverse auction works, but we put a particular item. It works best for commodities, not for professional services. 12-gauge steel, you put it out online, and then you open up the bid. People register to get in, and you see a declining bid for each one. So somebody starts at $10, somebody may bid $9, and we run that out for a period of time to keep people from waiting till the last minute. If somebody puts a bid in at the last minute, it extends an additional 10 minutes so others can put on there. We've had great success squeezing down the price on commodity items, and we have had great success with other local units that want to participate in that. The other advantage to that, when you have a commodity item and everybody knows you're doing it, for instance, if you're going to buy shirts, a lot of local units use T-shirts for their programs and their ball teams and things like that. Well, one of the biggest is East Grand Rapids. So when their bid goes out, if you've got 10 shirts for your local unit and 100 shirts for another, we combine them all together, do a reverse auction. You, who have the small quantity, benefit from the larger quantity being out there. It really works quite well, and we have a lot of positive feedback from various townships and cities that have participated in that. Automate processes that require minimal intervention, which provide information to county employees and citizens. Provide added resources to the fleet services operation to improve efficiency and increase capacity. Key goals and metrics. The accounting division manages accounts payable, accounts receivable, financial analysis, financial reporting, grant management, general ledger administration, and the audit process. Key goals and metrics: to process vendor payments accurately, timely, and efficiently. The objective: to process at least 99% of our accounts payable invoices without error. Results: percentage of accounts payable issued without error. Left to right, from 2016 to 2019 expectation, 98.91%, 99.27%, 99.5%, and we expect greater than 99% this year. To put things in perspective, in 2018, the accounting division processed 57,866 invoices and issued 36,340 payments. So there's a lot of activity going through the county. Again, key goals and metrics: to maximize cash flow and protect against cash flow shortfalls. Objective: to maintain a minimum fund balance equal to 40% of the subsequent year's adopted budget, which includes transfers out. Results: general fund budget as a percent of subsequent year's budget, 39.86%, 39.58%, 40%. 40% is our expectation for 2019. It's a graphic that shows 10 years of history with general fund balance as fund balance as a percent of subsequent year budget. The low point was in 2017. We were at 39.6%. The high was in 2014, where we hit 41.3%. But we hover very, very close to that 40% like we're supposed to. The budget division manages the budget development process, budget maintenance, financial forecasting, financial reporting, grant management, budget communication, and database administration. Key goals and metrics: to prepare and maintain a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of the county. Objective: to process 99% of approved budget amendment within 2 business days. Results: percent of approved budget amendments processed within 2 business days ranged from 99.46, 99.49, 99.5. We expect greater than 99% for 2019. To put again things in perspective, in 2018, the budget staff maintained budgets for over 35 funds, more than 180 cost centers, and over 5,000 budget lines, and processed 641 budget amendments. Again, the key goals and metrics: to prepare and maintain a budget that is realistic and responsive to the needs of county. The objective: to maintain a general fund revenue budget to actual revenue variance of less than 2%. In other words, we give you a budget estimate of revenue, and the actual collections we want plus or minus 2% to stay in that range. We feel that is about as close as we can get it. Results: percent of variance in general fund budget to actual: 1.8%, 1.8%, 2.3%, and our expectation for 2019 is less than 2%. Again, here's a 10-year data points for the general fund revenue budget variance. You'll see a dotted line that is above and below. That is plus 2%, minus 2%. We're trying to stay within that band. The blue line is the actual budget variance. If you look at the 10 years of history, the low side was a negative 4.9 in 2010. Our poor economic conditions made it difficult to project taxable value. We had a lot going on. It was a part of the Great Recession. It was just a very, very difficult time for us. And then the high side was 2.3% high. That was in 2018. That was essentially the unbudgeted sale of North Monroe property. That was not a part of the original budget revenue estimates when we put it together for you. Central Services Division supports the county departments with printing, imaging, digital communication, microfilming, scanning, messenger service, mail processing, and a secure records archive storage space. Key goals and metrics: to provide cost-effective document management services in support of county departments in a timely manner. The objective is to maintain the percent of print jobs completed by the requested due date to at least 98% of the time. Results: percent of print jobs completed by the requested due date: 98.13, 98.03, 97.92. We expect to be greater than 98% for 2019. Excuse me a second. In 2018, Central Services processed 531,944 pieces of outgoing mail, 829,236 frames of microfilm, and did 2,355 print jobs. Fleet Division manages the county vehicles, provides scheduled maintenance, maintains a parts inventory, manages the fueling system, oversees vehicle liquidation, analyzes department vehicle requirements, advises the Fire Commission of fire truck repairs. Key goals and metrics: to provide a preventative maintenance program on a scheduled basis consistent with manufacturer and professional standards. Objective: to ensure preventative maintenance on county vehicles is completed within 2 days, 95% of the time. Results: percent of preventative maintenance performed within 2 days, 95%, 95, 95. We expect it'll be 95 again this year. Payroll Division manages all employee payroll payments, processes, and benefit time banks, maintains payroll reference tables such as local, state, and federal tax rates, and budget-related updates and changes, performs all payroll-related local, state, and federal reporting requirements. Key goals and metrics: to provide accurate payroll information while meeting all the federal, state, and local reporting deadlines. Objective: to issue 99.9% of all payroll payments without errors. Percent of payroll payments issued without errors, the results are 99.95, 99.91, 99.98. We expect to be greater than 99% again this year. Purchasing Division manages the procurement of goods and services, negotiates contracts, manages vendor relations, acts as a liaison to the Fire Commission, and assists other local units with procurement. As I said earlier, we have people that come in and leave and come back and all that stuff. We're currently providing these services to about 5 to 10 local townships and cities, and we have one county that we work with on a regular basis, which happens to be Allegan County. They really like to use us, particularly in procurement of their IT-related stuff. We've been able to save them a substantial amount of money. Key goals and metrics: to ensure that there is vendor competition in order to obtain the best possible price and quality. Objective: to encourage participation in county business opportunities. Results: the average responses received per solicitation: 5.09, 4.68, 4.69. We're striving to hit at least 5 again this year. Risk Management Division. Mitigate the county's risk exposure through the self-insurance, risk transfer, administers the self-funded and commercial insurance program, claims administration, administers workers' compensation, and DOT program. DOT stands for Department of Transportation, and we have certain employees that have a commercial driver's license that have to be monitored and certain things like that. We handle that out of risk management. Key goals and metrics: to reduce workdays lost to occupational illness or injury. Objective: to limit lost workdays per workers' comp indemnity claim to 50 days or less. Results: average lost workdays per indemnity claim, 65.83, 28.49, 53.56. We're shooting for less than 50 days this year. That is something that's somewhat out of our control. Sometimes we have a major injury where somebody's off a lot of days. Some years we have a good year, it's less. But it's part of us trying to manage to make sure that we get a healthy employee return to work. Case management, physical therapy, those type of things to make sure that everything is lined up to go in smooth order, not to get out of sync, not to let the appointments get too far away, because our objective is to get the employee healthy and back into Kent County doing their job. Talk a little bit about significant accomplishments. Fleet Services developed a real-time vehicle monitoring system, modified parts storage, updated fuel management software, and added technology at the workstation. By that, we mean we took tough notebooks and allowed them to work right there. Before, we used to have one computer they had to walk to. We used to have parts in the back they had to go get. Well, we wanted the employees working, not walking all the time. So we've redesigned the logistics, gave them the tools at the machine so that we continue to do more with less. Fleet Services has increased its capacity through the use of technology and process improvements that I just described. And at the same time, we've added over 40 vehicles over the last 5 years and other equipment that's been added to the fleet inventory. Fleet Services has accomplished this with 2 less full-time employees. In 2010, we did away with the fleet manager and combined that division and put it under the purchasing manager and just used an assistant down there. The other thing is we used to have 2 people down there doing radio service technicians down there. We cut that to 1, and we were able to keep up with everybody because of how we've reorganized and used technology. So even with that growth, we're still able to do it with 2 less people. Central Services consolidated the mailroom with the courthouse mailroom to optimize staff effectiveness, balance the mail processing, and create roll backups without adding staff. Central Services is one of those divisions that has to provide service every day. So if you have a vacation or an illness or an injury, you got to create the backup to handle that. You have mail delivery, which is outside the county, where we go to the courthouse, we go to the health department and deliver mail, okay? We also have internal mail that's delivered inside the building that has to be handled. So if one of those people are out, we have to move the next person over. So we did a lot of planning on how we could do that. And then we also worked with Al Jalen and the courthouse mail people to make sure they had the same equipment, duplication of what we had here. We smoothed that out by working with them. And as far as I know, I've received no complaints. It has went very well. And that's probably been in place last 6 to 9 months, and I'm very satisfied with how that went. Significant accomplishments for the county. Reorganization, excuse me, reorganization that has better defined roles, improved communication, improved efficiency, improved customer service, and stakeholder satisfaction. As you know, we spent or as I hope you know, we spent a couple of years switching software system for the county, going from PeopleSoft to A360. And during that process, I basically split my staff and moved part of them across the street to work with IT on that project, left the remaining staff over here. During that period of time, things kind of you dealt more with the critical things, and sometimes some of the day-to-day stuff didn't get done as well as I would have liked to have it done. Now that we're consolidated back, we had some key retirements and some other people who made career changes. It was time to rebuild the staff and reset the standards back to the level that I thought we should do. We were fortunate. We tightened up on the requirements to come work for us. Absolutely, if you were going to work in the accounting division, you had to have at least a 4-year accounting degree. If you were a CPA, that was a plus. We liked that also. We ended up hiring, I think, 3 or 4 new people. All of them meet that requirement. We're all doing a great job. Now what we have set down is laid out what we expect in terms of performance, where it's to be done, the quality is to be done like, and any particular procedures we want standardized. We're trying to improve our service, and I think we have improved our service to the outlying departments, the quality of work, the timing of the work, all better. I think that's been a major step for us. Risk management, completed property valuation to establish current insurable values and loss prevention techniques to reduce premium and other losses. Fiscal Services collaborates with all county departments, many local units, the state of Michigan, over 6,500 vendors, fire commission, fire departments, standard boards, rating agencies, financial services organization, the list goes on. Here are some of the logos of some of the many people that we collaborate on an ongoing basis. A look ahead. We've made great strides towards being an efficient, technology-driven organization, but we have more to do. We're going to have some GASB updates. They're going to continue all the time. Why should that concern you? Well, some of those reporting requirements also change how our financial statements look. All you got to take a look at is GASB 34, which made us do government-wide statements. GASB 73 and 74 set standards for OPEB. 67, 68 set standards for the pension system. So there's all types of things that have an effect on your balance sheet. We continue to deal with those every day. There's a new state-mandated chart of accounts that we're going to have to deal with. We thought we had it all under control. We thought we had the latest one in our hand. The state put it out. Few people didn't like what they saw, went back, changed it again. We know we're going to get a new one. That's important for us because it can change how we structure our budgets and our funds. Can mean some more disruption, at least initially. I think the goal of that is to get everybody using the same line items for the same type of cost, and then have that feed into what they call a document called the F-65. And the F-65 summarizes all of the financial data of all the local units in the state of Michigan. And why they like that consistent is if you're looking at Oakland County, or if you're looking at Monroe County or Kent County, you want to be able to get the same financial information. You want comparable data. So we know we're going to be dealing with that. Believe it or not, it's been 5 years since we did the transition into A360, so we're going to be facing a financial software upgrade. As many of you know, 5 years in software is a lifetime. We will be dealing with that issue over the next probably 20 and 21. Leverage technology to improve efficiencies. We tend to try and find different ways to automate so that we can not only do it more efficiently, but be more effective in our communication to other departments and to the citizens and the public, and ultimately the board itself. Vendor maintenance, increase the number of EFT payments. The reason we want to do that, it's more effective, it's more cost effective. I think it's something like 3 cents to issue an EFT and more like a quarter or so to issue a check. Those might not be the exact numbers, but that gives you the relative magnitude. Also, if you're printing, you got paper, you've got ink, toner, machines, a lot of things that you don't really need if you go to the digital world. So we want to increase that as much as possible. How will we do that? We will target vendors that get multiple checks every time we issue accounts payable and say, hey, this would be great, and basically do a little marketing job with those particular vendors, and hopefully convince more and more of them to go with EFT. Increase the number of direct deposit payroll payments for the same reason, because we can cut costs, we can get rid of paper, we can get rid of machines, we can cut toner. All those things cost money for us. And effectively, it really is, as a person who didn't want to go with direct deposit years ago, I love it because, if I'm out of state, if I, are sick, can't come to work, I don't have to worry about my check. It's sitting in the bank. It's available as 12:01 a.m. on the Friday you get paid. I don't know why anybody would want to depend on the mail for the check to come, but we do have some. A look ahead continued. Leveraging technology has to be to become an employer of choice. These next 2 points really are true not only for fiscal services, but countywide. Millennials, Gen Xers, if we're going to be an employer of choice, we have to be tech savvy. We have to use technology in order to attract them, keep them challenged, and be part of our workforce. And if we don't do that, then we're going to miss out on some of the top talent, and I don't think we want to do that as a county. Enhancing document management tactics. I still think that the low-hanging fruit for Kent County is dealing with document management. Using software tools to improve scanning, archival, retrieval, electronic signatures, document retention, that offers a huge opportunity to do what I said earlier, to be more effective in how you do your job, to be more effective in being able to generate reports that are available to your departments, to the board, and to our citizens. So I think that is a key thing that we need to keep working on, not only in fiscal services, but Kent County as a whole. I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me to share what my department does. And we have a couple of people, plus myself, who will try to answer any questions you may have.
Well, good. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for your exhaustive report on an important department of our county. Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the good work you've given the county over the number of years that I've worked with you. It's been fantastic work, and I really appreciate all you've done, and I appreciate the answers you gave me to financial questions, whether it concerns the airport or the DPW or other areas of the county. You always got back to me and always did a great job. With that said, I got two questions for you. What thing are you most proud of since you've been director? And the second thing are what are the watch-outs? And the third thing is, I still get my check in the mail, and I tell my wife it's a bi-weekly letter from Wayman. Works really good.
Well, for me, that's an easy answer. And maybe I should have quit there. But anyway, the easy answer is OnBase. OnBase is a document management software that we use now pretty much countywide. It's interwoven into long things. But what people don't realize was that the first project was a pilot project in fiscal services. I worked with IT to select that software, and then we used it for accounts payable. And it was a tremendous success. We set up a scanner. The scanner had the ability to, quote, learn, because we would put it in there and it would say, we think this is the invoice number, we think this is the address, we think this is whatever. And so what we would do is say, no, we'd be going to program it. No, for this particular invoice, it's here, here, here. And so you got to the point, after a while, you had to scan it in. It uploaded so that it would go in to PeopleSoft, okay? We also, because we worked on there's scanning where you just scan it and get a picture. There's also scanning with keywords. Well, keywords mean how much you search for it. Might search for it on name, might search for it on invoice number, and so you would scan it in and it will keep that, and then you would be able to search that document back any way you want to, as long as you specified that keyword. So archival and retrieval became pretty easy to do. We use digital signatures so that you click, the machine has it right to the 1/100th of a second, I think it is, as to when you clicked it saying this is approved. So all those things allowed that document to flow around and be tracked. And to me, it was a tremendous time saver. We know the departments, some departments took positions that were took two people to do a job with accounts payable. After that, through attrition, maybe cut a position, or through attrition said, or through reduction of work said, oh, I've got two people here. One was one of the people working court said, oh, now I can reassign this person to a job that we need to do without adding staff and collect for people leaving the court before they leave, because we know if we get the money sooner rather than later, that's a bonus. So that whole thing, and then rolling it up to other departments. Corporate Counsel uses it for searching documents. So it's just been, to me, a big success. The biggest problem we've had is we can't roll it out fast enough. So I think you need to continue to put the resources to it and move it around to a lot more functions, because it's, in purchasing, for instance, we went so digital that we used to have 14 four-drawer files with paper in it. You can't find one downstairs now. It's all digital, all because of how we use this software for document management. Enough. I really get worked up about that one.
And any watch-outs that we need to watch out for in the future for younger board members here at this table that we could get off track?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Any concerns for the future? Any watch-outs for your department that you would say, hey, you need to watch this, that, make sure this doesn't happen, or we're moving backwards on this issue?
Nothing I can think of right this second. I mean, I've laid out what I think we have to watch. I mean, you got a good person coming in behind me, you'd be fine.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Steck. Steve, thanks for your work and your passion. You've been at the helm my tenure on the board, and I appreciate it. Just 3 quick questions. The vendor payment errors, I know it was only 1%, but could you give me an example of what type of error is common? Just inverting of numbers, or just a complete error on the bill?
Probably the most common that can happen, you hate to have it, you can double pay an accounts payable from time to time. We've had to go out and recover that. Though you try to build in software things that's there that handle that. That's probably the most common. And really in terms of loss, I can't remember any losses that we've had. We've had to scramble around to get some back, but it's rare and infrequent.
Okay, so the next one in the purchasing division, I know that we do it in-house, we have the reverse auction. Is there ever times where we go outside to another type of purchasing to get a better deal than what we can do?
Yes, and I tell you, I'd like Cal to step up and talk about that if he would. I mean, I can answer, but I think Cal knows it far better than me.
Good morning. The answer is specifically yes. We have many tools we use. You heard about reverse auction. We do bidding, request for proposals, quotes, and so forth. But we do look at collaborative purchases as well, like my deal with the state of Michigan, America Saves with Oakland County. So we evaluate them all. More frequently, we can bid and beat those, but not in all cases. And we do absolutely use collaborative bids in those instances.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, with my email address being public, that's one of the things I get in my email field constantly, is people that telling me that we got a better way to do your purchasing. So I appreciate all your work and at least looking at the outsides to return the best investment. Then my final question is another one that I get. Under document management, especially the scanning, the archival, and retention, is it cheaper for us to do it in-house, or would it be cheaper to at least take a look at having it done outside?
You talking about the scanning?
Yeah, just all of that.
Typically, when you have a backlog, okay, it is probably cheaper to go outside, and we have went outside and we have bid that service. Because, if you want to, like us, we want to have 7 years of history there. That's our document retention level. With ongoing stuff, we've got that down to a pretty much to a science, at least in my department. We scan it, it's up and there. We have it set up so that if you email your invoice to the right email address, it automatically is stripped off that email. The keywords data is automatically uploaded for us. We don't touch it. Okay, so we've got a lot of things for current and going forward. It's when you look at backlogs, it's more cost effective to go outside.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And by the way, when you talk about, just if I may, when you talk about purchasing, we have had people from around the state just come up to want to see how our purchasing operation works, and they drool and they compliment us, and they wish they could do the same thing.
All right, Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Steve. I want to say thank you.
Oh,
You are, in my estimation, the epitome of a great public servant.
thank you, sir.
I have found you to be honest, to be transparent, and the way that you do your work, the way you go about it, makes people trust you, including me. And I want to say thank you for that. It's been a pleasure all these years to work with you.
I hope you can't see me blushing. Thank you.
I want to ask kind of maybe a technical question, kind of a big picture one. I suspect there are people on our board who, there's a number of places in your report that you talked about getting the best value through our processes, through our automated processes. I think there are some on the board who would also see a value to buying locally, using small business owners within the community as an economic development tool. So in addition to the value of getting the best price, there's also, I think, a case to be made for supporting small businesses locally, a variety of benefits from that. Is there a way to factor that piece in? Can you imagine a way to factor that in, maybe this is a Cal question, into our automated processes so that it's not just the best value, but how can we also support businesses locally, because there's lots of benefits to that as well?
I'm going to answer part of this. And this is a Steve and Cal question because we work quite closely on where we want to take the division and the things we want to do. We both believe, and I'll let Cal say his piece too, we both believe that the most important thing is the playing field be level for all, okay? And the second most important thing is price and value for what we get. Jump balls, always, we would prefer, if those things are equal, we would prefer the local business. That's getting to be a difficult thing to define because you have multinational corporations that have maybe a little office or a storefront in Kent County versus the small business person who created, lived, and built his business in Kent County. We spend a lot of time, and I'm going to let Cal cover this piece because he does it. We spend a lot of time outreach to all our local vendors, small vendors, minority vendors, women, WBEs, businesses. We really, really encourage them to come with us. What I believe the best way to operate is to keep the playing field equal for all. Cal, you want to address that more? You deal with it every day of your life.
And if I could just follow up before that, Cal, I recognize that that's a priority for the department, but if the board would say to Fiscal Services, we have this additional priority, what would be the implication of that for making that happen? Can we do that technically? Can we develop systems to do that? What would that entail? Because obviously that's your priority, but if the board has another priority, can you implement that? It's tough.
I think the board could set that standard if it so chose. I mean, you are in fact the legislative body of Kent County. I would personally speak out against it because I don't believe it's the right way to approach it. And that's just my personal opinion. And sometimes you like my opinion, sometimes you don't, but that's where I stand on that question.
I appreciate the question too, because we live that question. I'm going to respond in a couple ways. First, big picture. As you're aware, we operate under the Board of Commissioner policy, and the policy is exactly what Steve says, is give everybody equal opportunity and an open market to participate and have opportunity to do business with Kent County. And that's what we live by in the big picture. I know it's been looked at before. Last I know that was looked at the board level, I believe it was 2010. And the board, commissioners here, some of them along with others, served and looked at it and said the county policies at that time and the policies that we live with today are sound, and we should continue with that. On the professional organizations, on the National Institute of Government Procurement, they've done studies on, they also would recommend that we don't institute local preferences or discounting or things like that, because it ultimately, in their opinion as well, drives up the cost. That doesn't mean we can't stop and work on this, because it's dear to all of our heart. How do we do that? And we do work on it on every one of our purchasing meetings. That is on our agenda. A couple things we do. We are members of the Michigan Public Purchasing Officers Association, which is the state of Michigan representatives for public procurement, and we meet there. Next year, we encourage, and we're very excited, we'd like your help on it, is they're coming to town in April, and we're hosting an event at Frederick Meyer Garden where businesses in West Michigan can come and learn how to do business, not only with Kent County, but many large organizations within the county. So that's creating opportunity. We're members of the West Michigan Public Purchasing Alliance. I'm the chair of that. That sole mission is to look at inclusiveness specifically for the underrepresented groups, the small groups, small businesses, and so forth. We just recently hosted, Kent County, along with the Alliance, hosted the event at the Co-op Extension. And we reached out to all of the groups, the Michigan Minority Supplier Council, invite them. They came to the meeting. Grand Rapids Area Opportunity for Women, the chambers, and many came and they learned how to do business with Kent County. But from our perspective, and my perspective as well, it's much more than that. It's reducing barriers for small businesses, for underrepresented groups to come and do business with Kent County. And we work really hard on that. And how do you do that? Is not necessarily through preference, but through simplifying our processes so that we don't scare people away. If you look at public procurement proposals, bids, they can be 30 pages, 40 pages long of boilerplate before you even figure out what they're going to buy. It scares small businesses away. It scares your underrepresented groups away. And so we sat down as a purchasing group earlier this year, and we read every sentence, every paragraph in our bid document. So our proposals now are 3 pages or less to, again, encourage small businesses to come, encourage everybody to come to the table and participate. I was in an interview last week with vendors for a very important bid, and 3 of the 5 that we interviewed unsolicited said, you know, the reason we came and participated in Kent County is because it's simple and it's easy to do business. We also survey. So we have instituted, our administrator bought survey tools, and we survey, ask is it fair, how can we break down those barriers, and we're listing, we're calling people who identify themselves, and we're working on that. And so that's what we're doing to try to reduce barriers, include everybody in an equal opportunity. So hopefully that's helpful.
Any follow-up? You're all set.
Yeah, didn't get my question answered, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioners? If not, I have one question, then a comment. First of all, Cal, for you, I read an article the other day about a community that had committed to go to or move towards all-electric vehicles. I guess the question is, have we done that kind of analysis, and where are we in that approach?
Yes, we have done that, and we have looked at it from time to time. We have owned in some past some electric vehicles, so we do a total cost analysis. The majority of our vehicles are patrol vehicles, sheriff vehicles, and a county road environment out in the roads. And right now, the vehicles that we're purchasing still are the most economical in the total overall cost.
Good, thank you. And then my comment, believe this is your last report, Steve, fiscal services report. And so I want to take that opportunity. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to thank you for your years of service, but certainly to acknowledge you for what you have done for this county over the years. You know, in everybody's life, we have these variables and we have constants. And frankly, over the last 5 years, fiscal services has been one of my constants. I never had to worry or be concerned about it. So I think in large part that's due to your leadership and your role in that work. So thank you for that. And we look forward to being able to acknowledge you later again.
Thank you, all of you.
All right, let's move to the next item, which is a report from the Administrator's Office and a proposed resolution for the purchase of development rights rankings.
Yes, this is a request to the Board of Commissioners to approve the Agriculture Preservation Board's 2019 Purchase of Development Rights ranking. The Purchase of Development Rights Ordinance adopted by the Board of Commissioners in 2002 established procedures for the administration of the PDR program. And by ordinance, the Kent County Agricultural Preservation Board is responsible for much of the program administration, with certain items presented to the Board Commissioners for approval. The Agricultural Preservation Board prepared the selection criteria to rank and prioritize PDR applications, and in June 2019, the Board of Commissioners approved the criteria per the ordinance. Selection criteria continues to focus on preservation efforts in areas with large blocks of agricultural land and considers factors such as soil type, parcel size, proximity to water and sewer, proximity to other public or private preserved land. The top-ranked farms in 2019 ranking are in the Fruit Ridge area, which includes Tyrone, Sparta, and Alpine Townships. The Agricultural Preservation Board intends to seek funding from the Michigan Agricultural Preservation Fund and the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program to purchase conservation easements using the ranking system.
So moved. It is moved to approve the resolution and supported. Is there any question or comments? Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. It feels like deja vu. I think I said the same thing at this point last year. The Agricultural Preservation Board does a thorough job with this grading system and how it operates. I think it's very good. I think the whole system, as far as what Kent County's been involved in, has been set up well. And just out of a fundamental disagreement with how the purchase of development rights system statewide puts in a deed restriction in perpetuity, I'm going to be opposed to this today.
Okay. Thank you. Any other commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Towne.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I just want to clarify, this is the first time that we've done this, isn't it? This is not the criteria. Those have been already, for ranking, those have already been approved. My understanding from looking at this is that this is something that's required by the state in order to participate, so we actually have to provide a list of our farms to the state. Is that correct? So we haven't really done this before?
Matthew Van Zetten.
We've done it before, but not, let's have Matthew answer.
I believe we've come before the board to show the rankings before, and then in preparation for applications that we were going to submit. That's my understanding. We can double check that. These are the rankings that we've provided, and we'll be going to the board. The state requires us to submit these to them and show that there's a plan, a purpose to move these things forward. So we can double check that.
Yeah, appreciate it, because I thought this was new money that became available in the state fund, and so this is the first time we've been able to apply for that?
That's accurate. There's a new pool of funding in the state, $1.9 million, I believe, that with grant applications due on December 23rd. So these farms are prioritized. We will be applying with support of the Ag Preservation Board for at least one, potentially two farms.
Yes, go ahead.
And one more follow-up. Do we have any sense for what the differential is these days between the farm valuation and the development valuation? My assumption is that that is narrowing significantly. Do you have any sense of what that looks like now?
I don't want to misspeak. I would need to do some more research on that. It's been one of the discussion items I've had with Stacy, but I don't have any, I don't want to.
Has it been discussed at the Ag Preservation Board? Does our member have any recollection of
Commissioner
that?
Coleman, you sit on that board. Do you have
Yeah.
a response?
To see the specific statistics, if I remember right from the ranking sheet, I think there's about a 40-some percentage gap in terms of like what's getting covered by purchasing the development rights is average. I mean, it varies wildly depending on where the farm is located, but that's my recollection of the statistics. Is that?
Okay. Well,
We can confirm
appreciate
that.
a good follow-up
Yeah,
and
we'll do that.
a couple of curiosities. And one last thing, Chair, I'd like to request a roll call on this. Thank you.
All right. Request under the rules is granted. Yes.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Chair.
Vaughn.
I agree wholeheartedly with what Commissioner Kelman said. And the reason, even though I'm going to vote for this today, the reason being, some time ago, a resident in the township called me up and said road commission was trimming shrubs on his property. I said, well, maybe it's summer help, I'm not sure, let me get back to you. And long story short, back in 1955, the road commission, or in the 1950s, the road commission bought that corner of property for a clear right-of-way. Paid $1,500 for it. Guy said, $1,500, it's worth way more than that. 1950, that $1,500 would probably buy you 3 new cars. So I'm just saying that over time, people say, oh, you only got that for it? Because of inflation. And I think the same with this, that they're going to say, man, you sold that orchard, no, do it over again. So I agree very much with what Commissioner Kelman said, and that needs to be reviewed in some way, form, or fashion.
Yes, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Stack. I just want to point out that at the end of the day, it's not government telling the farmer that he has to sell. The farmer owns the land. He has a right to do with it what he wants. If he wants to put it in preservation, that's his decision. We don't influence that, correct?
This is all voluntary farmers coming forward to be ranked.
Thank you.
Just again to clarify for the commissioners on the vote, what we are being asked to approve in the resolution is essentially the ranking that is attached to the resolution, the specific ranking of specific farm acreage. Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. Just one additional comment. The rankings here, well, I still can't get past my fundamental disagreement with the in perpetuity piece of the existing system. It is toughest on these because I do think the Agricultural Preservation Board has done a very good job assessing these properties, specifically targeting some that are up on the Fruit Ridge, which is one of the most unique kind of farm area, soil composition, et cetera. So from that standpoint, the selection process here, I would commend.
Good. Got it. Anything else? If not, we are ready to vote. If you would do the roll call, please.
Commissioner Hennessy?
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman? No. Commissioner Melton? Commissioner Ponstein?
Yes.
Commissioner Saalfeld, Commissioner Skaggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Talon,
Yes.
Commissioner Vonk,
Yes.
Chair Steck.
Yes.
6 yes and 1 no. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, let's move to the next item of business, number 5, which is the Human Services Report on the Retirement Plan Amendment.
Yes, this is a request to the Board of Commissioners to approve the First Amendment to the Kent County Employees Retirement Plan and Trust as restated in 2016, effective to January 1, 2020. The Kent County Employees Retirement Plan has been amended and restated from time to time since its adoption in 1948. The plan was last restated effective January 1, 2016. The proposed amendment aligns the pension plan with collective bargaining agreements and incorporates several necessary housekeeping changes. Additionally, the proposed amendment includes one substantive change as it pertains to final average salary, including periods of workers' compensation leave. Previously, workers' compensation was only included in Kent County Corrections Officers Employees Group as part of a determination of final average salary. The proposed amendment incorporates this among all employee groups for consistency. Plan attorney Frank Borodin of Miller Johnston drafted the amendment. A memo explaining the detailed changes is attached.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
It is moved. Is it supported?
Support.
It is supported. Discussion? Yes, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Steck. So yeah, this was brought up at the last pension meeting. In my tenure in elective office, that's one of the difficult things when you have multiple bargaining units is to make sure everything's in alignment. And this is just a correction to bring fairness across the board. It's not favoring one over the other. So appreciate the staff at the HR department explaining this, and that's all I have to add.
Good. Thank you. Commissioner Skaggs.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I can't pretend that I completely understood this entire memo, or even the overall gist of it, to be honest. But I did highlight the portion where it says, "We have no reason to believe that the impact of the plan on employer costs is large." What does large mean?
Well, I'm going to punt that question over to Amy Ralston or
Michelle Balcom.
Michelle Balcom.
Good morning, Commissioners. We did indeed collect input from our actuary, Gabriel Roeder Smith and Company, as it relates to cost. But I would, in that discussion, I shared with them in the last 16 years, there's been 2 incidents where this may have impacted. They did run some assumption of a 1% incidence over a 5-year period, and I believe it is summed up, $70,000 over a 5-year period added to the normal cost of the plan. But based on the size of the plan, that represents less than 1/100th of 1%. So it's extremely small.
So large means
De minimis.
extremely small. Okay, good, good to know.
I think not large.
Not large
Not
means
large.
extremely small. Good, thank you.
Commissioner Coleman, did you have a?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So that, I share Commissioner Skaggs' confusion on this one, but so that 70,000 over 5 years, so roughly 14,000 per year in additional liability just due to the policy change. And that's for the full retirement period of those, this guesstimate of 5 people a year, or whatever it is, being impacted. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, the estimate that the actuary used was actually a 1%, assuming a 1% incidence, which resulted in 4 participants affected over 5 years. And in the last 16 years, we've had 2. So, it's an overestimation of the cost for certain. And, we're looking at a fund of over $900 million. So I guess in terms of an auditor would say this is de minimis.
So my understanding is that costs measured by actuarial analysis is always a strange thing.
I can't disagree with that.
Any other comments, questions? If not, this is not a roll call vote, is it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. All right, let's move to item number 6, which is miscellaneous. If anyone has any miscellaneous items, yes, Commissioner Bonk.
Thank you, Chair. I got an answer to Commissioner Talon's question about purchasing local. I'm going to talk out both sides of my mouth as I tell you this. At the DPW some years ago, we purchased, today it would be like $1 million piece of equipment. It was not local, and when I say local, I'm talking big local. And it wasn't small business, it was big business. So why are we buying this piece of equipment when we got other equipment in here that we can buy? And anyway, I lost the vote on that. Later on, I was at a conference, and I talked to the manufacturer of the local piece of equipment. And the difference in price was the maintenance contract. The difference in price was the maintenance contract. And he says, we would negotiate that. The exec said, we would have done that, been more than happy to. Next time we bought an American piece of equipment, and then later on, we bought another piece of European equipment. And a friend of mine owns a heavy equipment business, and I asked him about that. He says, well, sometimes people have a piece of equipment that is better than ours. It's really a great piece of equipment, and it does things that our equipment wouldn't do. And in this case, this equipment qualified as that, and a friend of mine that worked for the other company who used to do maintenance on the landfill said, he said, that's a wonderful piece of equipment, so easy to work on, really cost effective. So sometimes it goes both ways, and to make that one size fit all, maybe it doesn't always work, but I think always should be aware of what you said. That's my response to you. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Chair.
You're welcome. Any other miscellaneous? Yes, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Steck. I just wanted to just give some thanks out. I know as a commissioner, I see the administration staff the most, and yes, I do call with questions. I appreciate the prompt responses that I do get. Past couple weeks, I had a couple constituents within Kent County, and they had not issues, but questions about two things that were within the realm of the Sheriff's Department and the Health Department. I always appreciate the quick responses. The people that called with the problems appreciated it. But I think the strongest point is that both of those issues were things that I weren't aware of. So when they're giving information for me to give to people, it's also an educational opportunity for me. And it's two issues that I were completely unaware of. And I appreciate that not only did they provide the answers, but they were already doing things to try to handle those problems. So I appreciated the foresightedness, because I didn't think that we'd be dealing with stuff like that, but we are. So thank you to the staff all throughout the county, and I appreciate the responses.
Anyone else? If not, I have one item that has to do with the ongoing efforts of this committee to make the recommendations for appointments to the various commissions and boards. All of you have been working on that and providing your responses to those. There are two, though, that we still have to find qualified, willing candidates, the Fire Commission and the Friend of the Court Citizens Advisory Committee. We did repost those along with several others for additional invitation of candidates. That deadline for application is December 1, so it's coming up fairly quickly. But we are still without candidates on those two committees. So I would encourage you, if you have any knowledge of individuals or your people know people, whatever it is, if we are able to get out there and get that word out to see if we can get some additional candidates for at least those two. Yes, Commissioner Talon.
Well, quick follow-up. Do we have recommendations on all the other ones from all of the subcommittees? Have they made their recommendations, and will those be going to this board directly from them, or?
Yeah, this,
What's that process?
yes, we do have recommendations from the various subcommittees. There is one subcommittee, it's mine, which still has yet to make a recommendation, I think on one, maybe two. But I think the interview process has been completed, and so those will come in to Pam, and we'll get those back to this committee for approval in our meeting in December.
Okay, thanks.
All right, anything else? If not, we stand adjourned.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Bayard, Kent County. Ami, Kent County.
Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.